Hi, in this video I'll be creating an application using Otree, and what Otree basically is, it's a platform which allows social science experiments to be created. In social science in general, there are like two popular ones which I know about, which are Otree, and this one is Otree. And Otree is like an application. It's like it has its own syntax and its own language, but Otree is written above Django. So basically, this is a web application, and people who want to learn Otree should first learn HTML, should learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And they are not obligatory because you could like just learn the basic syntax of Otree of HTML and CSS and JavaScript and get by, because it's, after all, it's only an experiment and it doesn't need to have all of the bells and whistles of a complete app. And it already has Bootstrap inside this framework and other libraries. So for example, Bootstrap is get Bootstrap, and this is basically a component library for HTML, and it has like components in HTML and JavaScript or in CSS. So what basically this means that instead of writing only HTML code and then like styling all of the tags using CSS, you could only use some classes which are already made by Bootstrap and create everything that you want. So if you go to the CSS section in Bootstrap, and there is like the grid system, which is basically the most important thing, which allows you to like separate the screen of a web page to like multiple sections and multiple rows. And so for example, this is the 12 rows, 12 column layout. Imagine that the screen is the 12 columns, and each and every column is like one section of the screen, and I could divide them in whatever way I want to. So for example, here it's like it's 8 columns for the first section or the first part of the screen, and 4 columns for the second section. So here could be some text and here some image, or the other way around. And instead of writing all of the CSS for this, I just create a new div for each one of this, and create a row first, and then say for this is the first div which has an MD1, which is basically this, and this MD1 also for the second one, and etc. So Bootstrap is a very powerful CSS component library and JavaScript components library also. So if you go to typography, I can do like styling for the text and center the text, or get it right or get it left. I can get write some code like for tags for code, or I can style forms. For example, this is like an email form and a password, how to upload some file, basic button. I can go to buttons, and there is all kinds of styling for buttons. For example, the colors of a button. So this is a default button. So button default. This is primary, which is button primary, and button info, button success, button warning, and etc. I can make a button small or large by adding this button large or button small or button extra small. So XS means extra small. So Bootstrap is like, it takes a course in its own, but basically Otree includes Bootstrap by default. So, and Otree is like written in Python, so you need to know Python and web technologies. And to start with Otree, you could just go to the, and here's like a demo of, the complete list of a list of all the experiments which are basically in GitHub. So if you go to GitHub, and here's like a list of all the experiments which you could rewrite or use some code from. So if you want to, like, if each and every one of these are an experiment, and here this is like the the admin view of all the applications. So let's say that I am a researcher and I have all of these applications. So this application, which is public goods game, this is well known for social science researchers. For example, here this application takes 3 participants. So if I create this, it will create a new session. So I am conducting an experiment, and I have 3 participants. I give every one of these links to a participant, and the participant could like start. And this experiment needs all of these 3 participants. So if I go to here and go next, this is the first page was instructions. So I go, how much do you want to contribute to the project from 0 to 100? So if I go 50 and say next, it will wait until all of these are finished. So I go to this and say 10 for the second one, and go for the third one and say 30 and go next. And now it's like I get the results because all of the participants have contributed. So, and this is like the result of the experiment. I go to next and like, thank you, and this is the laboratory, and this is in the classroom or something. Yeah. So, and this is basically the admin view. Yeah. So in this video, I will be creating an application using Otree, which is called the bibliothèque task, which is basically an application that was written in Z-tree, and it's like for every single participant, he will get the instructions, and after that he will get like some screens which have some information, and he has to look on a library, some library search website to get some results and enter it. So this is the task. Basically, go search in this library for some ISBN and get some information and fill it in the form. And when this is done, then the participant gets some cash for getting information. Otree has great documentation. If you go to the documentation, it's not that great. So here's the home, there's the demo. If you want to download Otree, you go to this, which basically gets you to the documentation, and this is a forum of questions, and this is like the frequently asked questions, and here's the GitHub repository of Otree. So we have like Otree, and there's all of the experiments. Here's the demo, here's the website, here's the documentation, and here's the quick start on how to run Otree. So basically, if I want to run Otree, so if you want to like start running Otree, yeah. So basically, to start to download Otree, you need like to type this command bib, which is Python package manager, and install Otree-core, which is the core library of Otree. And this, if you want to create a new project, you create Otree, start a project, then Otree. So a project is like a complete. It may contain many applications, and then we have Otree reset DB to reset the database and create the table in each and every configured application, and then we need to run Otree run server to run the server on the development board, or to run the experiment if you want to. And here's like an example game in how to create an application. So we have like the models the models file, which has all of the database tables definitions, so for subsession, for group, and for a player. And the views, which has all of the views, which so basically a view is an HTML page which has some class for it, like the class name, and some methods which are all documented in the documentation. And we have like this is for every single view. So we have like results wait page. This is like has this method after all players arrive. So when this method is called, then the when like so here's the base sequence. So when the experimentee is starting is in the experiment or doing the experiment, he will get first the introduction view, and then the guest view, and then results wait page. And this basically, when he hits this page, he needs to wait for all of the other participants until they finish, if this game supports more than one participant. And then he will get his results, which are basically how much he earned or other things. And we have like test.py if you want to test your code, which is optional. And there's the feature and the contributor. So first, here's the documentation. So we have all of this. This is the definition of Otree. Basically the same stuff. And here it's like how to install Otree, Python tutorial for people who don't know about Python. There's a tutorial of basic usage of Otree, and there's a conceptual overview. Here we have like applications written on how to create like an application. Here we have everything about models, on how to create database tables, and each and every table that we have by default. So for example, we have the constants of all the configuration of one application. The subsession is like an instance of running the application for one time. And we have like for the group, which is basically all of the players which play on one game, if we have like more than one. So in the public goods game, we had 3 participants. And here we have the player, which is basically the player who is playing the experiment right now. And we have for the views all kinds of, for example, pages and wait pages, and randomizing page sequences like sections. And then we have templates on how to fill HTML templates for people who don't really know about HTML. Here you can only learn the basics which you need. There's forms on how to do forms in HTML. There's groups on multiplayer games, which is basically how to do applications for more than one player. And there's money and points on how to set the payoff of one player. So there's all kinds of stuff. So here for localization, if I want to create the same application for multiple languages, here's on how to run my application on Mechanical Turk, which is Amazon service, to get some people to do the experiments for some money and remotely. And here's here's some Django related stuff on how stuff works, and there's like this is glossary for Z3 programmers, which is basically the alternative framework, which is the old one. And here's the version history and some resources on how to learn Otree. I already had started with my Django application. So in order to install Otree, I go to my bash or my shell. So I am using Docker, but you don't need to. You only need to install Python, and after that, in my case, it's Python 3.3 or something. And if I go Python / version, it's Python 3.6.2. And if I want to install Docker, if I want to install Otree, I first run pip3 install and then Otree-core. And when I install it, it's called requirements or already satisfied because I already have it. And if I want to install it in an already created project, so I have this file which is uh, requirement.txt, and I get the context of it, content of it. So which has basically requirement space. So we have in this file we have the Otree core 1.1.2, which is the version I'm using, and Django dependency on 1.8.8 for Heroku needs to be explicitly in the requirement file. So basically I could just run pip free install -r and then the dependencies file, which is this requirement-based.txt, and this command would run, look inside this file and check for every dependency we have and install it. So if I go run, it would say already satisfied because I already have all of this. So if I go to ls, I already have a project, but I would create a new one. So I go up and I make dir, like let's name it let's say that we need some new project, and go inside it, and then we need to run the commands of Django. So if you go to the, not here, if you go to how to install, we have Otree start project Otree, and so create a new project, and it's called Otree. And when I run this command, it asks me, do you want to create a sample, include sample games? If I want to, it will create the public goods game and other sample games, but I don't want to. I just want an empty project. Say no. When I say ls, I have the Otree project. So I go inside. So this is like the Otree project. I go ls and say there's all of the files inside of this project. So for example, proc file. This is like, I don't care about the readme. I write everything. We have the templates, the static file, static folder, which contains all the static content in my project, and the template, which contains the templates for my project. The manage.py, this is basically a Django command, Django file, which if I want to run the command, so I go Python manage.py, and then it will show me all the commands which I can run on Django. So these are the authentication command, the channels command, the Django command, the deju. There's like this new thing, and then the Otree, which are all the Otree commands. Yeah, so and the sessions and static files collect find static. If I want to run an experiment, I say run server. If I want to reset, I go to reset db. If I want to make migrations, I can do it, but reset db basically make migrations and run them and delete everything beforehand. Yeah, and we have the requirements file, which has all of the dependencies, and this is the basic one, the best one that we need. This one is for Heroku, and there is the server one, and we have the settings, which has all of the settings for our project. So for now we don't have any app yet. If I want to create a new app, I say Otree run server, I say Otree, and then start app, and in my case it's called bibliothek, so I bibliothek, which is a German word, and I go I run it, and then when I say ls, I have a new folder which is called bibliothèque, and here it's an app in my project, and I need to add it to my settings file in order to specify that this command is that I'm using this command or something else. And I need to add it to my settings file in order to uh, let my project see it and reset the database and create tables for this application. And basically this is all of the steps required to create a new app, and then we just need to develop the content of the app or the pages and the other stuff. So if I go to uh, my other application which I already have, my other project, I go to code, and then I have this uh, project which has many applications. So I created like bargaining, bibliothèque, whole, and multiplication, quiz, slider, word encryption, and word creativity. So and I am developing now in the bibliothèque one. So if I go to bibliothèque, first this is the settings file, and I need to add this configuration which has the application name, which is bibliothèque, the display name is bibliothèque task, the number demo participants is 1, and the app sequence is bibliothèque. If I want to, when running this application, getting some other applications after hand to run also, I just separate it by comma. And I need to add this, I only add this block inside session configs. And this is all what I basically need to do in this setting. I just load it, and yeah. So what's basically an empty app would have, so if I go to my here and I say like Otree start app and then empty, when I create this app and I look inside it, so I go to here, I will find other one called, yeah, this is empty, and we have only the models file, the test file, the views file, and the templates. And in the templates we have only one page and the results of this page. And in the views we have them, the page and the results for this page. And the models have the constant class, the subsession model, and the group model, and the player model also. And if I want to create like a name for my project, for my application, I create it here, like my empty app, and my name is like, I write my name here, so the migrations directory I don't need to care about, and the built-ins I don't need to care about also, because these are automatically created by Django. I only modify the models file, and yeah. So basically I don't need the empty app. I just delete, and then move to recycle bin. Yes, yeah. And in the bibliothèque one, I am transforming an application which is written in Otree to an application to in Otree. And the steps are like, I go to each one of these. So this is like Otree. You don't need to care about Otree, but basically you have like multiple pages. Each one is one page or more than one page, and I just like create for every single. So for example, for every single, so this is the instruction I create for this instruction page and Otree uh, page. So we have like in the templates, this is the instructions one, and this is basically in the block title. When I write title, the name of my title of this page, and then we have this block content. So basically, and here this is like an what an empty uh, template would have only the block content, and you put all of your HTML here, and here's the next button, and just I create all of my content here. So, and the first page is only an instructions page, so I go to use and go to the, it's called instructions one, and I say I only want to see this in the pages. I go here, instructions one and comma. So when I start Otree, so first I need to reset the database, Otree reset db. So this would delete everything from the database and then recreate all of the models. Say yes. Then Otree run server, and then the board. So basically this is the command run the server on every single interface on the computer on the board 3000, and because I am running it inside of Docker, I have uh, a new IP address. So I go 192.168 dot uh, dot 99.100, then 3000, and this is basically the admin interface, and this is my task. So I go inside it, and which is the application, and I go and run the page, and when I run it, I get like this is the instructions page, instructions one. So this is instructions one, and then this is the content, their error type, the experiment begin. So this is the header, and so I'm using Bootstrap. So here I have div and the class container fluid, which has, this is basically a layout, and then inside it one row, two rows, three rows, and for every row you have like this. This is an H3 tag, which is basically a title, this big one. So if you go here, I go here, it's a big one, and here there are B tags, and I have one row, two rows, and three rows, and this is the next button. Yeah, and so I created this instructions one, and then the instructions two, and I create for every one of this a new class. So this is the instructions one, this is the instructions two, and for the instructions two I have two variables passed from the models file. So here I have the configuration for my application, and I have the number of ISBN 660, and the conversion rate is 0.2, and the incorrect conversion is 1. And if I want to access these values, I go to the views, and it's already imported in Django in Python. From .models, import the class constants, and I pass this with vars for template. So these go to the template 2, and I can access them by doing this. Only open curly brace, and then conversion, the name of the variable which is specified here, and then the close curly brace. And if I go now to the instructions 2, and I go and refresh the page, or I need to close it first. I need to close it first. So bibliothèque task, and then here, and I go to, we have like bibliothèque and then instructions 2. So I have here the point 2, which is the conversion rate, and this is the incorrect conversion rate, and the other stuff. So, and by the way, these are black because they are inside the strong tag for people who don't already know anything about HTML. So the strong tag, and we have like this is the paragraph, and we have it like in each row the paragraph would span on small screens 12 columns, so it would span everything in the screen. And the text center, which means that I need to the text to be centered. So here it's like it's centered. So if I go here and remove this and refresh again, I will get it like to scroll. I'll get it like a line to the right, to the left. And if I go here and return this text align, and I go, so it's now on the middle. And I say if I want to change anything, I just change it in the code here. So I go to كتب أحسن VS, just like so you have it like here. If I want to, yeah. So basically, I created the first instruction page and the second instruction page, and then I am doing the first example page, which has the Beispiel, which is the example, and then when I go to the views and I say I want the example page to be displayed first, and then this is confusing. Yeah, so I close this, and then bibliothèque task, and then run it, and this is the example page. So I am dividing the 12 columns to two sections. The first section is for text, the second section is for the image, and I create this by doing this. So if I go to the example, so we go to the example, we have like here, we go to container first. This is the container, and inside it we have the first row, which has everything, and inside this row we have a left and a right. The left one is for all of the text, and the right version is for, and the right div, the first div, by the way, div is like a division of a screen or a section. So each division gets on a new row. So and this div has column class 12, which spans 12 columns on small screen, and 3 on small on extra small screen, and 3 columns on small screen. And here it could be 9, or I could change this to MD if I want to, but I found that small is like, I can do like for extra small screen is 12, for small screen is 3, for medium screens it's like 2, and for like large screens it should be like 1 or something. Yeah. And then here in the other div we have only an image, and I am linking a static file which is basically documented in the Otree. If I go otree.org and then documentation, and I go to templates and I search for image, and we have like static content to include the static file BNG, JPEG, MD4, CSS, CS, etc. in your pages. Make sure your template has load static files at the top. Then create a static folder in your app next to templates. Like templates, it should also have a subfolder with your app's name, static my app. Put your files in that subfolder. You can then reference them in a template like this. So what basically this means is that I need to copy this and add it to my file. So I add it in the top, load static file, and then I need to create a static folder, which I already did. So it's here, static folder, it's next to the inside the my application. So this is the bibliothèque task. Inside it, static folder, and inside it a bibliothèque, also a folder called bibliothèque, and inside it the images. And I can reference like this image by saying source, and inside it this open tag, and then close tag, and inside it bibliothèque, which is the application name, and then the JPEG folder, and then the picture name. Yeah. So this was for the first page, and I am creating now a second version for the second page. So this is like the second page. So first I copy the first template to a second template because it's basically the same, so I am only changing the text. Yeah, but we need to, yeah. So I go here and go I'm doing shift tab to get it on the left, and then yeah. So basically I would delete everything and start from scratch to show you how to do it. So first I have like a div, which is the container, which is the complete page, and then I create inside it a row, and inside this row I have two divs, which is one for the left and one for the right. So I go call XS. This would span 12 columns on small screens, and then I have also one which is also would span 12 columns on small screens. So the first one is for the image, for the text, and the second one is for the image. And then I say on this is on extra small screen. Sorry, yeah, and this is small screen. It would span like 3, and this one would span like called small 9, because we have 12 in total. Yeah, and inside it I create multiple B tags. So create B for my paragraph, and inside it I copy text from here. So we have like the third one. So this is I already done this. I'm copying this. So I go copy, and then this is basically my paragraph. I go here to show it. So first I put it inside, and then I clean it because this is basically the Otree way of doing stuff. And look this at this on the browser. I go to here. First I need to add it in the view. It's called example one. So I don't have a class for this. I copy this, and it's called example one. And I added the first in this sequence. So example one. And then close this, and then save this, and then go to bibliothèque task, and then run this, and I see that I have everything on the left. So this is the left section. So because it's taking the configuration of extra small screen small screen, because this is like considered big, but Bootstrap like when it's it will get the same configuration for big as for the last one, which is small in my case. Yeah, and I go to see how it looks. So here it's like it's called Beispiel and it's in bold, and then out until sign is bold. So how strong this is bold. So it's called B first, like a B tag, and then sign continue, and inside this it will be strong, strong, and then yeah. And when I refresh the browser, it's now in bold. Yeah, and then I keep looking at the. I took a screen of the tree here, and then the link Seite is also in its own view. I could just do it in strong tags, but I prefer to do it like this. So B and then strong. Yeah, and then here is for B for the other im Open Bereich. Hmm. And yeah, so here's like the close of the paragraph, and then so when the application is finished, we have like here the templates in template, and then the library folder, and inside it like multiple pages, and each page has multiple so we have here multiple HTML templates, and each template has a row in the views file. So in the views we have like next example, so instructions 1, instruction 2, instruction 3, and every one of these views has bar for templates. And then and at last we have like the results page, which has like the conversion and the incorrect conversion for the bars for template. And in the results page I have also the I can also access the player.correct and player.incorrect, which are like some variables inside the player object, and the player object is like to show the results for some player. So I can show him like in this curly braces, and I am using some Ajax library, and I am using jQuery document ready to just like show the results to the user when the document is loaded.